Hi there. My name's Amanda. My pronouns are she, her, and welcome to my Flosstube, my cross-stitching channel, which is called Sycamore Stitches. If this is the first time you've been here, welcome. And if you're back and you've been following my progress for a while, thanks for returning. I really appreciate it. Originally I wanted to do a video on Monday because that would have been a week from my last one, but I had a birth that day. I'm a birth doula, so my schedule is unpredictable. And when I do have to work, I often work for like long hours or overnight hours, and then my sleep's all messed up for about a day afterwards. So now I'm getting to it. And so here we are. This is Flosstube number 10. And I also was putting off recording today since this morning. It's afternoon now because I don't know if you can even see it on the video, but my eye is all swollen and red and kind of painful. And I don't know if you know, like if you deal with issues with your eyes, then it's like you know that whenever they're acting up, you feel really sleepy and like unmotivated, because the feeling that I have in my eye like all day long is kind of like as if you just woke up or you need to go to sleep. Anyhow, I have a pretty severe case of rosacea. I have some makeup on now, so it's kind of partially covered up. One of these days I'll do a video without any makeup, which is how I live in my regular life. Any of my friends and family or anybody who just sees me out and about always sees me without makeup because I don't like to wear makeup, but I'm still getting to know you guys. So you'll know when we're friends when I stop wearing my makeup. But anyhow, it doesn't happen super often, but sometimes the rosacea like gets into my eye or eyes. It's not always this one. And so my eyelids are very red, swollen, painful, and they get like, like just full of eye crusties, but right on the edge of them instead of like where you would normally get them. Anyhow, that's why I can't open my eye right. And I decided I just needed to go ahead and push through this, even though it makes me want to just kind of like sit and watch TV and not do anything, because it makes me feel like I'm tired, even when I'm not tired. But I decided I'd have some tea, wake up, and do this video. Oh, speaking of that, let me show you my new tea mug. My friend got me for my birthday. Like, it doesn't look very interesting right here, but look, it's so cute, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's kind of small, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll continue using it to like actually drink out of or just to kind of put stuff in, because it's kind of little and I prefer giant mugs full of lots of tea. But anyhow, I got some tea with honey and ready to do this. So, like I said, I had a birth on Monday. I also had one on Friday and last Friday. So that was like 2 in like 4 days. And I hadn't had one for like 2.5 months before that. So it was a little busy. They both went great, and I was really glad to be back doing that, because I had some time off, not on purpose really. It just, well, a little bit on purpose. I wanted like a month off on purpose, but like it ended up, people have babies early, people have babies late. Anyhow, it ended up being more than 2 months. So, anyhow, back at it again. And I do have a finish today. So that's kind of exciting. It wasn't very big. Didn't take me very long. But I finished this Clover Splash. I think I was very close to finishing it last time. I think I only had about 200 or 250 stitches left. And the whole piece took me, it's called Clover Splash, The author is Marianna, and I got it from an Etsy shop called Cross Stitch with Art for the pattern. And this took me about 17 hours to finish. I like to keep track of my time because I don't know. I'm weird like that. I like to keep track. Maybe other people like to keep track too. So that is not very much. I don't do smalls usually. So I think the average project would usually take me about 40 hours to complete. So this was much smaller than my usual one. It's not necessarily small, but it has so much blank space and the white in the middle is not stitched. So this is a present for someone. And I ordered a frame and some stuff yesterday that I haven't got yet. So I was trying to figure out if I was going to finish it just in a frame or not, but I guess I haven't experimented a lot with doing things other than framing. I don't sew except for by hand. I don't have a sewing machine. I don't know that I want to get one. I don't really like them. I like to feel much more in control. I mean, I guess in control by hand stitching, although I guess if I used them more often, I would feel more in control of a sewing machine. I feel like they're like going so fast. I mean, and I'm not like pedal to the metal or anything. It just compared to hand sewing, it feels like a lot to me. I don't know. That's probably a skill that I should work on at some point, but I'm not really interested in doing it right now. But instead, I think that I got a larger square frame for that is white and that has some matting in it that is also white, but I'm thinking that I will paint the matting green so that it will be, the fabric is white and then have green matting and then white frame. I don't know. We'll see how that works. I've never tried to paint matting. I don't know if that will look nice, but I'm going to give it a try. I've never done any custom framing either. I just frame my own stuff with like the cheapest frames I can find. So we'll see. I also need to order a frame for this piece. This is not a new finish. This is something old, but I made this for my dad when he retired last April, March, April. And he loves it, which is great. He loves it so much that he took it in the frame that it was in and set it out on his deck so that he could see it every morning when he drank his coffee. And I thought maybe I should tell him that like this picture I mean, there's a roof over their deck, but it's outside and we don't live in a place, we live in a place with lots of rain and snow and whatever. And high humidity in general. Sorry. Anyhow, so I was like, maybe I should tell him that he shouldn't have it outside, but whatever, he was happy. And then I was over there maybe like a month ago, and he mentioned something about it, and I was like, well, where is it? And I realized that he had left it outside now in the winter in the snow, and he went out to get it, and the frame, there was completely condensed inside the glass, and the frame and the backing board were all wet and warped. Luckily it's on a dark fabric, so like it's totally, the piece itself is totally fine, the fabric. Anyhow, so I brought this home and I need to reframe it for my dad. I'm probably just going to reframe it in the same way I did before. Although if I can think of a way to make it weather resistant, I should do that, but I really can't think of it. I think he's just gonna have to bring it inside when it gets rainy, or maybe I'll have to find a way to like, I don't know, but I'm happy to just reframe it. So I need to work on that too. And that pattern came from Emma Congdon's first book, Cross Stitch for the Soul. And I just took out, there were a bunch of curly cues on it too, and I just took those out to make it a little more like masculine for my dad. But I finished that last year, but it needs to fully finished, so it's sitting in my pile of things to get to. So I also have a new start. I wasn't, so normally I start something when I finish something. Um, and so I finished the clover. And so I was like, oh, I can start something. But technically I had added that one in extra because it was a gift. But I don't know. I decided to start something new anyhow because it was just a tiny little piece. Which I've shown on here before that I wanted to start, called Father Frost, and it is from Al Forest Embroidery. Here's a picture. It's in their free charts section. There's like a set of 12 fairy tale houses, which actually aren't really my thing, but I just really liked this one in particular. And it has like some specialty stitches in it too, which is even better because I've recently become obsessed with that after doing one project with them on it. Like not even, just barely starting that project, and I'm like, I want to do all the specialty stitches. So I just started this yesterday and only worked on it for like maybe an hour and a half or something. I did one, there's only 5 colors, and I color completed the first color. So obviously you can see the outline of the house roof. And this is very small because it goes, this is the top, this is the bottom, and this is the side. So this is all it will be. And these on the top row are some sort of specialty stitches, and there's going to be another color making that part even longer as part of the border. It's on a 16 count opalescent Aida, which I've never used before. And I'm not really like somebody who normally likes glitter, but this is so, I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Anyhow, take it from me. It's sparkly. There you can see some sparkle. It definitely looks more sparkly in person. And here's the colors for it. I made some floss drops of my own. I'm not sure that I'm converting completely over to them, but I've been using them a little bit here and there. And I just bought some gift tags, like colored gift tags from Amazon. Well, I have white ones too. And just put the punch on the bottom. So very easy. There's also, one of these is blank because it is 5200, it's white, and that's in one of my other projects, but I'll get to it. So this probably shouldn't take too long to do, but I probably shouldn't like ignore my other projects while I do it. So I started that yesterday. I'm already at 10% on Pattern Keeper with that, although it doesn't count the specialty stitches, obviously, but yeah, that's probably about right. I probably am about 10% on that already, which is, I'm not used to doing tiny projects. Maybe I should do more of them here and there because, wow, I could be done like in no time at all. Okay, so on to my current whips, my works in progress. My first one here is from Emma Congdon's Cross Stitch for the Earth, which if you've been watching, you know, like I am a huge fan of Emma Congdon, also known as Stitchrovia. That's her Etsy site that she sells patterns on. But this is her second book of patterns that you can buy on Amazon, and there will be a third one that is, you can pre-order it already, but it doesn't come out till I think July, maybe June. I think July though. Anyhow, they don't have names in the book, but I call this Between Two Pines because it says Between Two Pines is a doorway to a new world. John Muir. And here I am on this. I keep putting my needle minder in the middle of where the sun will be because it's a blank spot. So here I am on this. What I've done since last time is all of this darker green, which I know is a little hard to see on here, but this darker green, and then it comes up all the way up here. I need to also do it on this side. And there's a second darker green that does kind of the same, goes in the same area. Um, and then some pale yellow for the sun. Like that's a lot of this is going to stay negative space. It's going to be the color of the fabric is going to be the color that's there. This is on a 14 count Aida in, I think forest green is the color. And I kind of want to have this done by the end of the month, so I really need to kind of make sure I work on it. The darker green isn't as fun to do. Dark green on dark green, not super fun. I mean, it's not the exact same color, obviously. It could be worse. I mean, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't want to do it then. But yeah, so I'm still hoping to get this done by the end of February, and I think it's probably doable. If I make sure I do it. That one lives in my only like actual project bag, like the cross stitch project bag, which has a vinyl front. And this comes from Tiffany at Black Cat X Stitchery. I was going to show you the bags I use today as I show you my projects. Like I said, that's the only one that has like a project bag that like the ones that the other, you know, Flosstubers show with their projects. But I'm a little, I use different one. I apparently like these quilted like Vera Bradley bags to use as my project bags. They have lots of pockets in them. They're easy to pick up and grab. This is the one that this little Father Frost is in right now. Put the pattern and stuff in it. This one's actually a little big for that tiny little pattern, but it can work for bigger ones. Anyhow, I buy them for very cheap at my thrift store. And they're really good. They're really good project bags because you can just, especially my projects that I tend to take with me places to work on, I like having in those because you could just grab it and take it very easily. And this next one, I guess, is kind of part of my haul, like my new stuff since last time, because I just bought this one this week at the thrift store. It was only $5 and it is the perfect size for my, you can see, my Q-snap just fits perfectly in there. And so does my, you know, clipboard that has my pattern on it. And then it's got little pockets for like all my other stuff that goes along with this project. So that I really like that one. I hadn't been to the thrift store down the hill in a long time, but I had to dress my kindergartner up as a 100-year-old person for their 100th day of school. How do you dress up a kindergartner like that? So I just went to the thrift store and like bought some old lady jewelry and a shawl and I don't know. She had fun. I'm not sure that she looked like she was 100 years old. I mean, she definitely didn't because she's 6, but whatever. She had fun with it. This next one is Ski Lift by Awesome Pattern Studio. That's the picture of it when it's done. It's much bigger than I kind of anticipated. So here's where I am. It does go up a tiny bit more under that Q-snap. This week, what I've done is all of these, the sides of the mountains that are cream colored, and then it's really hard to see, but I've been doing some white here on this mountain, and then there's a whole bunch of white that I need to do over here too. I mean, who likes stitching white on white? I'd already done it up here in these clouds, and now I decided that I should probably just get the white done with so that I don't have to do it at the end, because that would be something that I wouldn't want to finish. So I'm working on the white this week. Not sure that I'll finish the white this week. I had said before that I wanted to finish this by the beginning of spring, by the end of winter, first day of spring. And then after my last Flosstube, I was like, I wonder how realistic that is. Let's see how much I would have to do to actually get that goal. And it comes out to about 1,200 stitches every week, which is kind of a lot if I am wanting to work on other projects as well, which I do. I don't want to just work on this. So I'm not sure if I'm going to meet my goal or not. I did get 1,200 stitches done on it last week. That cream. Maybe I did something else last week too. I feel like that isn't probably 1,200 stitches on its own. Maybe, I don't know. Regardless, I did do 1,200 stitches on it last week. This week, the white, I've done like 300. Probably this cream was only 600, so maybe I did do something else last week. Maybe the dark blue. I don't know. Regardless. So I'm only a quarter of the way through that goal for this week. I plan to do another, to get halfway, to do another quarter of it, another about 300 stitches later today. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get through that. I'm gonna try. If I don't finish it by the first day of spring, I might put it away until next winter. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can finish it first. And if I don't, I might put it away to make way for the spring stitching that I want to do. Unless, of course, it's still completely snowy by the middle of March around here, which is potentially very likely. So in that case, maybe I will keep stitching on it past that deadline. Okay. Oops. Next we have my Twisted Rainbow Sampler from Northern Expressions Needlework. It is 19 bands in a diagonal, 18 different colors, and every other band is, it's starting up here, a band of cross stitch, and then a band of specialty stitches are the kind of skinnier ones, and then cross stitch specialty stitches all the way down. It is in, I'm using a Dinky Dyes silk. It's my first time ever using silk. It's really fun. It's also really expensive, so I don't know how often I'll be able to use it, but it's super fun. So last time, where was I last time? I think I just finished up color number 3, which you can see where the half of this cross stitch band is, it switches colors. It's a little hard to tell because they're very close to each other. Oh, there you go. You can see the 2 colors there. So I think that's where I was finishing that color. So what I did this week was starting color number 4 and doing the second half of that cross stitch band down to there. I would like to, I think by the end of February, my goal on this one is to have finished this band and then be working on the specialty stitch band and at least be halfway through that. Like the colors switch in between each band. So basically get through the color that I'm on, which would be to finish this band and do half of the next one. I think that's probably pretty doable, especially because at least this specialty stitch band, it went a little quicker than the cross stitch. But I haven't done specialty stitches before, so I did have to like watch YouTube videos and figure out how to do them and then do them. So there'll be different types on this one, so I'll have to do that process again. So I guess it's possible they could be a little more difficult. This is on a 32 count black linen, like I said, with the Dinky Dyes silk, and the chart recommended just using 1 strand over 2 the entire time. I didn't think that was enough coverage for the cross stitch. So I'm doing the cross stitch bands with 2 strands over 2, and I'm doing the specialty stitch bands with 1 strand over 2. And I think that's coming out pretty nicely. This is one that does need a new bag because it's a little bit big for like those quilted bags I have. So I just have this kind of thin tote bag, and I could use something different, so keep my eye out. These are the colors that I haven't used yet, so I'm from this side moving across. So you could tell they are. It's going to be so fun when it's done. Let's see, two more that I worked on. This next one is also in one of these, a larger version of that quilted bag. This is also from Alfred's Embroidery, like the little Father Frost, but this is much, much bigger. This is called Northern Land. It's a very large sampler. I'm on this top quarter is the section I'm on. I'm getting close to being done with the whole, like a quarter of it, but not quite there yet. It's 3 colors. It is, I got the floss from Al Forest. It is very pretty and has a nice variegation. Those are the 3 colors that I'm using. I did change the color of the fabric though. It shows it on more of a cream. And I'm doing it on this kind of dusky pink mottled fabric, which is called Earthen by Picture This Plus, and it's a 32 count Lugana, which is an even weave fabric. So here's where I am. When I get to like this section here, if that's all filled in, then that's about that means I'm about a quarter done. So I'm not quite there. What I did this week was the lighter pink color. So it's, sorry, let me come around. I mentioned last time that I hurt my arm a couple weeks ago. So lifting that one up is a little difficult to like point, but I can do it from this side. So it's a little hard to tell between the darker red and the lighter pink, or darker pink, lighter pink. But what I did was, you can see the lighter pink up here, and then all these squares in here is what I did this week. And I need to continue on with that lighter pink. There's a couple little blue pieces in here, and then this center motif is really, really big. And then at that point, I'll be actually a little bit over a quarter done, because this line right here is kind of the halfway down point. And then the center of this center motif is the halfway across point, but I'm doing the entire center motif so that it doesn't look weird. So, and then it continues down another, just as much as this, down, and then the entire thing is mirrored on the other side. So I don't know if I'm going to need to take a break from it once I get down to the bottom and start the second side, which is going to be the same things that I've already stitched. Possibly, I think by the time I get back up here, it will be a long time since I stitched this and it won't bother me, but if I have to put it away for a little bit, I will at that point, just because I'll be stitching basically the same exact thing, just flipped. I don't know if that will bother me or not. It could. I guess I didn't say what fabric that ski lift was on, but it's just a 14 count white Ada. That's why I didn't say it. It's the default size and color. And then my last thing that I worked on this week is my very giant project, which is called, I think it's just called Bear, but I call it Watercolor Bear, by Alisa Okneas. And I'm up in this section here. I finished the first page of the pattern, which was like this corner, and then there's 2 more pages that come across. It's actually divided in 4 across, but as you can see, this whole last one is white, at least on the top row. So I was starting in, I'm kind of doing page 2 and 3 here together because they blend into each other. They're going to use all the same colors and stuff. So I don't have a grab card for this giant Q-snap, so I've just been using my like hair do-rag on the end where my hands rest so that I don't get the white fabric all messy. So like I said, here's the, you can see where the page break basically is. And so what I did this week was starting this green that's all kind of coming across here. There's a bunch more of it, even if just this one color, but that's all the further I got. I think I did like 550 stitches though. So, still a lot. Some of them are half stitches, some of them are full stitches. So it's also like difficult, at least in this particular color, because it's the same color, but some of them are full stitches and some of them are half stitches, like in the same areas. And so there's two different symbols on the chart for that. And even using, so I am using Pattern Keeper, which makes it a little easy, but as you know, like you can only highlight one symbol. So I highlight one symbol, but then I have to watch for the other symbol as I'm moving around, because it doesn't really make sense to go through twice, like one's for full stitches, obviously, and one's for half stitches. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying to make sure I get them all as I go. So it requires kind of a lot of thinking. So it's not one of these like kind of more repetitive projects. Not all of the colors are like that. Actually, a lot of them aren't, but these greens, this green, and I think some of the other greens, because I remember it over here, are like that, where there's two symbols and you have to watch for them both. But I think I'm almost, I don't know if I'm quite to the end of this. It probably doesn't come much further out. So that's where I am on that. I think I'm at 16.5%. So there's still quite a lot to do. Once I get through this top row of pages, I will move it down in the Q-snap. And this is in a, I think, a 28 count Monaco, which is another even weave. I didn't know anything about these different types of fabrics. I was just buying them. I have found that the Lugana I really like. It's nice and soft. And the Monaco, it feels a little more like an Aida. Like it's got a stiffness to it, which is nice in a big project like this. I hadn't even meant to, but because I'm using like this very large Q snap so that I can see this whole area, it's kind of nice that it's a stiff fabric. I hardly ever find that I need to do any tightening. It just keeps it nice and taut because it doesn't, it's not a loose fabric, like more like a Lugana or a linen are usually a little more loose. And then Aida is usually very stiff, or stiff, I guess. Maybe not very. It depends on the Aida. And this one is too big, so I have this in a pillowcase, which works just fine. But until I figure out something else, or maybe I'll get like just a different pillowcase that's more like a sham so that it folds over it. I don't know. Let me look at my notes and see if that was the stuff, all the stuff I want to talk about. Haul, I showed you the bag I got. I didn't really get much. I actually didn't really get any stitching stuff in the last week and a half, but I did buy that bag that I showed you. And then this is kind of exciting. My dad, like I said, he retired earlier, like in 2021. And so one of the things he's doing with his retirement, besides golfing and having a part-time job at the golf course in the summer, is he has his whole garage set up for a woodworking studio, which is something he used to do when he was younger, and he's just getting back into it. He's making lots of little things, and he was making boxes for me and my sisters. And he was making boxes with lids, but I was like, you know what, I could really use a crate to sit on my floor to put all my project bags, kind of line them up in. And he made me a crate. It is so nice. It's very sturdy. I don't even know what the bottom is made of, but I don't know. Anyhow, this is my new crate. It's kind of heavy too. It's very very sturdy, heavy, and it sits on the floor under my table. And my 4 projects that are in like smaller bags all kind of line up in it. Actually, maybe 5. Maybe I have 5 projects in here. But regardless, thank you. Thanks, Dad. I like the crate. And that's all my new stuff. Oh, sorry, my phone just frightened me. So I think that's it. Plans. Keep stitching. Yeah, I think I kind of talked about my plans as I was showing my projects, so I don't really need to reiterate them. We only have like a week and a half left of February. Starting in March, I do plan to start spending a couple mornings a week hiking. I did that last year and I started in March. And so it's probably going to still be cold and snowy and muddy, but I'm planning to do that again. So I might lose a little bit of stitching time, but I am a person who is a winter hibernator, and I have learned over the years to just not really fight it as much. And so I was hiking a lot last year, and I let myself just off the hook for any of that in like November, December, January, February, because pushing myself in those months usually just leads to frustration. So I've been doing a lot more sitting inside and stitching stuff in the winter months. And I assume I'm still going to continue wanting to stitch a lot and maybe just move some of it outside into my yard. But I will be starting some other things as well with my like free time. I think last year I hiked about like 300 miles. So I don't know what my goal is this year. Probably less than that, just because a lot of that was a 70-mile backpacking trip that my husband and I did in 1 week, and I'm not planning to do that this year, so I won't get the same mileage as I did last year, because that was just a straight week of hiking and basically not doing anything else, which was great, but not necessarily something I want to do every single year. Part of the reason we did that, well, was because I wanted to, and I told him to come along with me, but also we did the entire Laurel Highlands Trail, which is a backpacking trail kind of near us, and I wanted to check out the whole thing because I wanted to know which sections to potentially go on for smaller hikes with the kids. So maybe this year I might do just a 2 or 3 day hike with my husband and probably just my oldest, who is 12. I do not want to scare her away from it. She wants to do it right now. She wants to backpack. So I will have to make sure that we are not hiking like 12 to 14 miles in a day. They better be more like 6 mile days, and only like 2 or 3 of them instead of 7. So, because I want her to continue wanting to do it. And just that's her personality. If you put some kids, like, I guess, if you push them, they'll just want to try harder. And not that she won't, but she'll just be like, well, this isn't fun. I don't want to do this. So anyhow, that's kind of off topic, but maybe next Flosstube I'll talk more about my hiking goals too. I might have even started, or at least be making a schedule for myself, because I start small and work up to longer hikes. So I do know the one plan that I have this year is something that I did last year, not as big as that 70-mile backpacking trip, but there is a hiking challenge locally on the Rachel Carson Trail that, I mean, the challenge is like 36 miles in a day. I did the half, which is still a lot, 18 and a half miles in a day. So I did that last year, and I'm going to do it again this year because they switch directions every year. So I only did half the trail. So I'm going to do the other half the trail this year. And that's in June. So I do have to at least do enough training to like be able to do almost 19 miles in a day. And is a lot of elevation change. Like this is the steepest trail I've ever been on. I don't even know how parts of it are a trail. Like people slide down it on their butt. You need hiking poles. Well, I guess if you don't have hiking poles, you slide down it on your butt. But it's not like a typical hiking trail that, yeah, maybe has some hills, but there's like switchbacks and like, no, this is like straight up, straight down and like washed out from like erosion and you're just like climbing down it. So, but I guess that's part of the fun of it. But it's not, yeah, it's not like any other hiking trail I've been on. But anyhow, I am now just rambling. I didn't even know I was going to talk about hiking, but yeah, there's hiking. I guess maybe I'll keep doing my hiking updates at the end as I start doing it. That would be a good idea. Okay, if you're still here, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time, probably at the end of the month. Bye.